Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today's project, we have a broken gear shift lever out of a 1950 to 1960s Colechester Triumph MK2 lathe. It belongs to one of my viewers named Caydence. It's a lathe that he acquired and doing some work on, trying to get it fixed up and back in operating condition. So this is the lever that you use to select your feed rate or your threads per inch on the lathe, and somehow it got broken during a disassembly process. And you can see we got three pieces right here. So we have this that's supposed to go right there, and this should be all one solid piece, actually. Should be just like that right there. And so the factory has got that notch, cast into it. They've got it drilled and tapped for a socket head bolt to go in there. And I'm assuming it's kind of self-evident that it slides on and you tighten that bolt to lock it in place. So that should be how that works there. But of course it's broken right there in the bolt hole, which is always a trick right there. That's going to make it a lot more difficult to try to get this braze together accordingly. But I think I've come up with a game plan. I've been kind of studying this and trying to figure out what it is that I want to do to it to get it back in order. So I think what I would like to do is we're going to machine a bushing to fit this hole right here. This measures 1 7/8. You can get a measurement right through here. 1 7/8, and we'll see about getting this side brazed together right here really well. And instead of putting this piece back in there, I believe we'll just braze that all up. Not the notch. We'll take a piece of graphite. I got some thin graphite we'll lay in here to fill that notch, that flat area, and create a little dam right there. But all this right here, we're going to fill this up with braze. So we'll take this area here where the socket head bolt is supposed to fit. We'll just grind some of this away. All right, I'm going to try to get some kind of measurements on maybe where that's at, but not a big deal because it's still got the tapped hole here in the bottom. And matter of fact, that's what you can use to line up. Once this is all brazed back together, you can line this up with a drill bit and just drill it all the way through there to get your through hole, and then flip it back over, line it back up with the hole that you drilled, and do your counter bore for the socket head. Shouldn't be that bad. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. But that's what I'm thinking. Instead of trying to fill all this back in, you got to grind it, braze it. You might as well just fill the whole thing up and have all this, brazing material here, so that you can just have a nice solid piece of material that you can work with instead of worrying about getting all those back together. So I think that's the game plan that I'm going to go with there, is just all this right here will all be brazed material. All right, so that's the plan anyway. Caydence also said that he would do the machining on this. He just needed help with the brazing. So at this point, I haven't decided if I'm going to do the drilling and the counter boring. I know you guys would probably like to see that, to see the completed job. So at this point, I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. He just asked if I would help him braze it because he couldn't do it, but he said that he could handle the machining. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge once we get all this brazed up, and we'll see how I feel. I might just go ahead and get it knocked out, but we're not sure about that yet. So anyway, that is the job at hand. So let's go ahead and get started on this and see if we can get this job knocked out. I went ahead and machined this little aluminum bushing here it'll fit inside here. 1 inch 8/74 is what I made it. So it's got just enough room to slide, but it'll be captured right there. So anyway, that should fit that bore nicely. And we can line it up like this. We can clamp it. We'll be able to clamp it around that aluminum and get our brazing done. That way we can get in here and grind the V in there and then fill all this up. So that should work pretty good for that one right there. And then once we come to do this section right here, we want to dam that gap up. So I've got this piece of carbon right here. It's a little bit thick, so I'm gonna have to do some milling on it. But basically what I'm wanting to do is kind of lay it in there like so. I need to dress this just a little bit. It's got some high spots, kind of flatten this out a little bit, and just do a little milling on that to about a 1/4 inch thick, so that we can use this as our dam right in there whenever we're brazing all this up right here. All right. A little area right in here was kind of sticking up, so I'm just trying to make it flat. That's looking pretty good right there. Yeah, that's sitting much better in there. All right, now I just need to make this the proper thickness in there. There's a little better look with it all clamped together. It's fitting together nicely. So I'm going to unclamp it. The piece that's broken off, I need to do a little bit of filing on that side there as well, just like I did here. Try to get it a little bit more uniform on flatness for like our 1/4 inch shim that's going to go in there to dam it up. All right, we got our little carbon block milled there, and I'm just doing some hand filing on this just to try to get it to fit. We don't have a perfectly rectangle slot in here. And I'm just doing this right there, so it's still a little bit tight. And I tried to radius this one side a little bit also. This is more of a, well, it's a radius up on this corner right there. So we're putting a radius on that one. And we're just trying to knock this side off a little bit at a time. Like that. There we go. Yep, I think that's going to work really good right there. All right. So remember, we'll still need to, we're going to end up grinding this area right in here. We're just going to remove a little bit of an angle. Just remove this material. We'll clean this up so that we have a nice area to braze onto, a nice shiny material, and just dam all this up right in there. Okay, now that we got our bushing and our little carbon dam made up, we can go ahead and start getting these pieces dressed right here. So what we're going to do is on this bigger piece, we're going to go ahead and grind a V on this side here, and on this one we'll grind a V on that side. We're going to leave just a little bit right down there at the base, so that it'll come together in a perfect fitment there. And I think that V is going to be plenty of material built up there to hold that, especially whenever we have all of this built up right there holding it together. That should be pretty good. A lot of times what we like to do is come in there once we braze the outside part of it, and if you want like full penetration, you would come onto this inside crack and grind this out with a carbide burr and then braze that up as well. But because this is such a, this is a precision fit here, that 1 7/8 bore, I would like to just maintain that bore after we braze it up and not have to worry about going there and cutting that out or anything. So we're just gonna leave that the very end of it as original, And I think the brazing here and on this side is going to be more than adequate to hold that piece together. So, all right, we'll go ahead and start getting this fitted up now. Here's a look at our RV. That'll fill in nicely with the braze. All right, so that part of it's done. I think I'm going to go ahead and work on this part now. We'll go ahead and get it all dressed and ready to go for brazing. So what I think I'm going to do, instead of dressing these other broken areas now, since this is all fitting together like a puzzle piece, you know, we have this broken piece here and it fits these cracks perfectly. I think we're just going to go ahead and clamp this together. We left just a little bit there, so this side pulls up nice right where it should. We'll go ahead and clamp it, get this side brazed, and once that's done, then we'll remove this piece here and go ahead and dress this side, dress that side, get rid of some of this, even if we got to just use a little carbide burr and grind some of this material off, and then we'll go ahead and dam it up. But I just think it'd be a better choice to just go ahead and leave that piece in there so that I can assure that both of the round halves are clamped where it needs to be while we get it brazed together. Our brazing rod of choice today is going to be this Super 18 XFC from Eutectic. These are really high quality brazing rods. Let's see if I can get one out of there. Really high quality brazing rods, great for build up. They're super strong and they work great. So that's what we're going to be using for today's filler material. First thing we're going to do, I've got the part sitting on some fire brick here, and I'm going to get it nice and hot. Then we're going to go ahead and transfer it over here to the vise to hold it in position. So I'm using my smallest torch, but I'm using the biggest tip that we have, which is a number 9. It puts out a lot of heat, and we're just going to try to get this nice and hot. So here we go. That looks like it's nice and hot. Oh, I had it on this side right here. Okay. Change this tip out. I'm going to go with our number 5 brazing tip. All right, I think we're ready to start brazing now. So I'll admit that the aluminum was definitely not the right choice for making the bushing material. We went ahead and started this, and I realized right away that it's just not going to work. It's got a much lower melting point. It's just going to cause issues. So I started brazing this up. I knew the aluminum, once I started getting it hot, was going to just cause issues. So I stopped and I went ahead and made a steel bushing. And what I did was just grind a notch in there where the joint comes together, because there's just a slight amount. I think some of that brass is going to try to fall through there, and I didn't want it stick into a piece of steel. Again, I don't have a piece of graphite or carbon made to make that bushing that I need. I'm just missing that, and I don't feel like waiting on a piece to come. So just using what we got. So I think this little notch that I ground in there should hopefully allow me to push that out once we're through with the brazing, and that inside board will probably need to be touched up with a grinder or something at that point. So we got it clamped back together with our steel plug, and we're going to go ahead and start this over. We'll get it preheated and then begin our brazing. All right, we're going to swap tips for my number 5 tip here. I think I'm happy with that build up there. It needs a little bit more on the sides, but it'll just be easier to do that later now that I've got it brazed together really well. We can take the plug out of there and just kind of build up both of the sides. I think that looks good. It flowed in there really nicely, so I'm just going to let it sit there and cool off and let it relax a little bit. That worked. Heck yeah. Got some flux down in there, but should be able to polish that. Everything looked like it held together, even the other broken section still in there. Hopefully we can get that knocked out. It's captured in there pretty tight. I don't think it's going to come out just because of the shape of the piece. There's no way to let it out of there. So I think what I'm going to have to do is cut it out of there. I'll take a cut-off wheel, and we'll just kind of go like, right down the middle and cut it, and then that'll give it enough material for it to collapse and come out of there. That definitely took care of it. Perfect. All right, it's in a good spot. I'll just go ahead and start getting the rest of this cast iron dressed right there on this side. We'll flip it over and dress the other side. That looks good there. We just want clean, bright metal. I think that's pretty good. We just wanted to eliminate all that area where the hole was drilled through there. You can still see part of the hole and the counter bore, and plus the cracked area. So brought it down just enough so that once we braze that up and we re-drill it, it's not cutting into the cast iron. So we got that flapped to where it's round in there, and I cleaned the plug up, and this will still slide through here. Everything's still nice and hot, so that'll fit. We're going to put that back in there, make sure the gap is over there where that flux is. We've got our piece of graphite here, radius side to this corner. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there just like so, and we're going to go ahead and put the clamp back on it and make sure that it stays to that shape whenever we go and start doing all of our heating and brazing again. Yep, so it didn't take much to clamp it back down. That's still loose there, but that's okay. All right, so that's the plan. We'll get this set up over there in the brazing area, and we're just gonna fill all this in right there. It's gonna take a couple of stages of brazing. I want to try to get it built up across, bridge the gap there. And because we have so much, I may end up laying it over on its side on both sides to kind of build up each side of it there as well. All right, we'll go ahead and start. We got to start the preheat now. I'm going to switch out my torch. See that? We'll try this side over here. I think I'm going to reposition. That's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and rotate the vise and start building up that other side there. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. Okay. All right. It's building up really good on that one side, so we're going to start building up on the cast iron on the other side and get ready to bridge this gap. Let's get this side hot again. All right, so we're gonna start running some Braze beads lengthways and see if I can just finish getting it built up there. And I wanted to point out, I wanted to try this visor. So I've been using these goggles from Arc 1 and they work really well. I love using these, but I've got this visor. I've always wanted to try one with the dark shield for brazing. So we're gonna give it a try here and just see what I like. The only thing that I'm not liking so far is that when I pull it down like this, I'm getting a little bit of reflection through there from the inside, but it's gonna give me a more field of view. So I just wanna try it out and see how it is on this, the rest of this build up here. All right, let's get going. Just gonna get it hotted up again where we're ready to braze. It's flowing nicely. I've got just a little bit more. I'm almost done with it, but I want to make sure I get enough on there. I think I got it there. Let me try one or two more. I probably shouldn't. I think that's going to do it. I believe I've got the brazing completed. Those rods flowed in there nicely. I tried to build it up higher than what it looked like it should have been the side of it, just so that whenever we come in here and we start grinding it, dressing it down, hopefully we've got enough material to clean up those edges. And I think it turned out pretty good. Also came around here on the back side. I went ahead and touched up both of the ends or the sides as well. Got them built up. So this should be ready to go. So we'll come back later once this is all cooled down. And really the only thing left for me to do is just get all this dressed. I want to kind of get it shaped, looking like it's supposed to again. And then that'll probably finish this up. I believe I'm going to let Caydence go ahead and handle the drilling on this job, since he had said that he wouldn't mind doing that anyway. So we'll just get it ground and shaped to size before we finish it up. Got it on our fire blankets, and we're just gonna wrap it up here like this. Just let it come up, or cool down, I'm sorry. Cool down nice and slow. I did want to point out that the rest of the brazing rods that I have not used yet, these are not gonna go to waste. I'm gonna save these. I'll put these in a big Ziploc bag and save them, because all you do, anybody that brazes and welds knows this, you just take your ends, or you just braze them together, you know, just making a longer rod. So not going to go to waste. We're going to still have these to use. Some brazing jobs, when I got a really good puddle going, I don't want to take the extra time that it needs to come down here with the rod and try to attach it, because sometimes those few seconds are a little critical. So I like having a brazing rod just handy. Just pull it out and just keep on going with it, and then save these guys so that later we can reuse them and just use up all of that material there. Okay, our part's been out here for a few hours cooling. Let's go ahead and give it a little test here. Okay, it's cooled down. It's still warm, but it's cooled down. So I'm ready to go ahead and start getting the excess ground and dressed off here, so we can get this guy finished up. I think it turned out pretty good. Hopefully we can get the carbon and the plug out of there. Probably just a little tapping, hopefully. Let's see if we can tap our plug out of there like we did before. Stuck a little bit harder this time. All right, well, we don't want to do that too much, so we may just end up pressing. I just want to make sure that it's not stuck to it. I don't think it is. It shouldn't be. So it may be just the flux has gotten in there and gotten a little bit tight. So we'll probably set it up in the press and just go ahead and press on it. See if we can get it out of that way. All right, let's put a little hydraulic pressure on here and see if we can get that thing to move. This makes me super nervous. It's so easy to crack cast iron doing this, so it very well could crack. Let's give it a try. All right, no cracks. We got lucky there. It's just some of that flux got down in there and it was stuck to it, stuck to the steel. It just needs a good cleaning. So hopefully we can just take a punch and just knock that piece of carbon out of there next and get rid of that. Let's see if the little baby bullet will hold it. That's the position that I need to get in there to kind of tap this out. Yeah, it's coming out of there. There we go. Chipped it up a little bit, that's okay. More of a sacrificial piece. I tell you what, man, this little baby bullet has been super helpful for this job right here. Having it on this this swivel base that it was on. This is exactly how I got it. One of my viewers a while back, I can't remember his name, but he actually salvaged this in a garage or something they were cleaning out, and he gave it to me. He sent it to me and said, I wanted you to have it. And it's always hung around this and on the welding table, and it's proven handy for many jobs, and it has proven extremely helpful for this brazing job, so that you can position it where you want to. You can lay it down here like that, stand it up. Just been a great little vise. Love it. All right, so now we can go ahead and start getting our braze built up, dressed down, and get it shaped to a a uniform shape now. Back to the baby bullet. It was the most convenient vise to put it in, to get it in the position right here for grinding. It's turning out really nice. It's blended in there nicely. Okay, one more side to go. Just got to get this rounded off right there. I believe that's all it is right there. It's looking pretty good. I need to straighten up that slot where it rolled over just a little bit. Need to use a carbide burr for that, but that is looking good. A little bit more flux right there to clean up. But overall, I think it took shape nice. All right, we are just about done with this guy. So that last little bit's in that slot there, and I think we can just get it with a file right here. We just want to make it kind of look uniform inside. All right, well, there it is all finished up. I like it. I think it turned out pretty good. Our braze turned out nice, and you know, cleaning it up, dressing it, it looks pretty uniform on there. So I made mine just a little bit thicker right through here. You can see on this side the way they had this cast, you know, it kind of come down a little bit further. But I just kind of blended it sort of like a taper all the way up to this flat right here. Tapered it up there to even with the top, and then the same on this side, just tapered it up to that flat. But I'm happy with it. I think it turned out pretty good. And I have no doubt that that is a nice, strong braze in there. Brazing always works out really well, especially for cast iron. Whenever you do it right, you know, you get your heat right, you get it to flow in there, and you get it to bond right. It's going to be an extremely strong and versatile joint. And as long as this thing isn't putting under some kind of bind, it should work just fine. He had told me, Caydence, he had said that it was very, very tight coming off there, which is why it broke. He thinks that it was actually too tight on there. And whenever I had measured this, it seemed like it was measuring 1.874, but that doesn't really mean anything, but it sounded like it might have been a little bit tight. So I'm going to leave the rest up to him. I did measure this with my calipers here just to I wanted to see where we're at. 1 inch 875.5 right there. I measured it in one spot, and it seemed like it was a little bit under. There you go, 173. I'm sorry, 873. So you're going to have a couple of thousandths egg shape in this. Now you may be able to go in there with some flaps, just make it simple, go in there with some flap wheels and just kind of dress it out and just get it to fit, you know, hand fit it. Or you can certainly set it up in the milling machine on something, a couple toe clamps, and come in here with the boring head and just make it round. That would be the good machine way to do it. Either one will work. And then as far as drilling and counterboring it for the socket head bolt, it's as simple as getting this mounted up, and you got to square up this hole so you can take a drill bit or some kind of drill rod, and line this hole up, get it positioned where it needs to be, and then drill it all the way through there. Get a hole drilled all the way down through there, and then you can flip it back over once you have the hole established, line the hole up again, drill your clearance hole, I believe it's for a 1/4 and then drill it, or counterbore, I'm sorry, for the socket head. But Caydence said that he would handle the machining, so I'm going to let him do that. We've got it brazed, we've got it cleaned up, and it is ready to go. So I'm considering this guy finished up. Oh, by the way, I did put you can see the spring-loaded pin right here. So the way this goes on the machine is that, it's going to be connected to the shaft right here. You have your tumbler gears in here where you adjust for your different feed rates or your different threads per inch. And you just pull that pin, and this is going to slide either right or left there to line up to whatever feed, whatever gear you're wanting to put it in for your feed or your threads. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get everything cleaned up. We'll get this packaged up and get it sent back up there to Caydence. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My wife, Abby, she took all that footage of the brazing, and hopefully we got some good video of some of the brazing there. She's getting pretty good at trying to get in there and get the exposure set right so that you guys can kind of see the flame and the puddles and, how I'm manipulating it to get it built up. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that footage of that. So that's it. We're going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you back here on the next project. All right, see you then.